If you have been using AI art tools like Midjourney and DAL-E for the past few months, you may have realized that getting the exact output you want from these AI tools can be quite challenging. So this is the new tool I found. It's called Scribble Diffusion and it was released just a few days ago. So the way it works is basically you just sketch out a drawing and give a prompt alongside and the AI will try to fill in the details for you. Here's an example for you. I drew a simple sketch of a plant and typed in magical plant, and this is what Stable Diffusion gave me. And you can try this for the same prompt and sketch as many times as you like. So this is the website. You can see over here, there's already an example with the sun setting behind the mountain. So if I just go ahead and use this scribble and let's see the results. And you can see that Stable Diffusion does a pretty good job at identifying that there are three mountain peaks and then draws them out for you and then fills the rest of the canvas with its own imagination. So that's a pretty good sign. Let's try some more examples and see if it gets better than it already is. So let's try something else. Let's try a shoe design. But first, we'll have to draw a shoe. I'm not the best artist, but maybe I can draw something that remotely looks like a shoe. So as you can see, it kind of looks like a shoe. Let me go ahead and see what Scribble Diffusion does for us. And you can see that looks pretty good. I mean, the shoe looks natural. It's a novel image, so never been seen before. Seems like the shoe is on some concrete. I'm actually quite impressed. And let's try out another example. Now I need to draw the Japanese man holding a sword. Let's draw something that resembles a Japanese man. I apologize for my incredibly bad drawing skills. So let's give this a try. So as you can see, the AI does a decent job, even though my scribble wasn't of the highest quality. It does give me a Japanese man holding a sword in the sunset with the pose I desired. Let's try out another example. So I want to have four skyscrapers in the night. Okay, so I've drawn four blocks in the canvas. Let's see if it gives me any results. The moment I drew four boxes, the AI looks at the four boxes and then generates four skyscrapers. In fact, it adds a new skyscraper in the middle and a giant skyscraper at the back. So that's interesting. In the middle, you can see there is a river flowing through, and that looks pretty good as well. You can see there is a shadow of a skyscraper in the middle of the river. I would like to show you a tool which is a little more advanced than Scribble Diffusion and gives you a lot more options to work rather than scribbling on a canvas. ControlNet is a image generation model that is based off of Stable Diffusion. Currently, there is a GitHub repository if you want to work with ControlNet and try this out yourself. Coming back to the plethora of options that you get with ControlNet, let's take a look at a few options in the documentation. Firstly, you can see there is an option to use line maps. So you can convert your image into a sketch using line maps, and then ControlNet can generate many different images by using your sketch as an inspiration to make various designs. I can see this being used in home decoration settings. So when you need different ideas for decorating your house and other use cases as well. Here's another example using a different kind of sketch. The input is that of a handsome old man, And ControlNet does an amazing job giving you a variety of different images of an old man. And ControlNet does all of this while retaining the initial pose of the input. Here's a similar example of a cyberpunk robot with a similar kind of sketch, and the results are quite remarkable. Just look at the details, and the AI images that come out nail the initial pose given by the input image. The previous sketches are a bit too complex. You could always go back to drawing basic sketches, and they have an option for that as well. Here is a simple example of a bag, and ControlNet does a fine job of creating various images of a bag with the same input design. And all the bags are quite different from each other, but they retain the same initial design that was given by the input image. And over here, you can see that they have an example of a shoe as well, which is similar to the example we tried earlier with Scribble Diffusion. The results over here are quite high quality and can be used by anyone, really. Now, here's an interesting example of a stormtrooper giving a lecture. I can imagine the input image is something that was created in a modeling software like Blender, and it was then fed into the image generation model, and this is the result. And I must say, this is how I would imagine a stormtrooper giving a lecture, and ControlNet does an amazing job at giving accurate results for us. Let's look at some community posts on Twitter about Scribble Diffusion. Here's one from the founder itself, and this is just a simple drawing. The prompt is a map of the river valley, and you can see Scribble Diffusion spits out a vintage looking map from the 1800s. And this is ControlNet, works similar to Scribble Diffusion, but you can see a slightly better scribble, and look at the image it spits out. This is amazing. It pretty much gets everything spot on. Even the tattoos over here, there's presumably a tattoo over here, and the model does a pretty good job at accurately depicting that. And additionally, the model adds some more tattoos on the woman's arm. Here's one that didn't work out uh, at all for Scribble Diffusion. You can see the scribble is not perfect, and the AI model just completely butchers any sort of and does not give a usable image. This is actually pretty neat and simple. Owl Sketch and Stable Diffusion does a pretty good job. This is another example from ControlNet. You can see a pretty simple scribble of a dog, very well done. And if your scribbles are of high quality, the result is pretty desirable. And I mean, look at this dog. It looks exactly like the scribble. For the next example, you can see that somebody has drawn an octopus cat, and ControlNet does a decent job at looking at the sketch and then creating images of its own based on the sketch. And you can see all of these images are pretty good and of high quality, and they are quite usable. Here's another image, and this is quite interesting because the scribble is quite simple. I'm not sure what the desired output is, but nonetheless, it looks pretty amazing and kind of looks like a image from the movie Frozen. Here's another image. Here's one of a shark in the water. Still looks pretty usable. I think a better scribble would have given out a better result. So a trend appearing that if your scribbles are high quality, you will get high quality results.